Alrighty, so what I want to talk about today is how you render your final project. So when we're working on our tenant improvement, I'm sure that the owner, I'm sure that our professor would love to see our work inside and out. And for this rendering, I'm going to do the outside. This right here is the designs options um, model that we have from LinkedIn Learning from a past learning experience. Inside, I mean, we had that perspective lobby, and this is what it looked like. In fact, let me change it to realistic. So it would look more like this. I don't know why these are purple, but whatever. But what you're basically going to do is that you're going to be able to take these 3D views, okay, inside and out, and you're going to be able to model your geometry like we did all over here, okay. And you can input lighting and you can make it look professional. Of course, when we have variations, we'll have to make more, I guess, 3D renderings. But we'll get to that. But we're going to focus on the outside for now, just because I like the architectural aspect of it. I love how this roof system looks. I'm actually quite curious of how that worked, handling those loads. I mean, there isn't that much, but it just looks geometrically just amazing. I think the color could have been a little bit better. And I definitely would have added some sidewalk connecting parking lot over here, maybe right here across the side, maybe even around the back as well, maybe a concrete pad here. But that's beyond the point. I'm going to show you how to render, and if you'll bear with me, we'll get to that. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is that when you get to your project, when it opens, I want you to come down in the project browser, and I want you to go to our 3D views. Whenever we click on this button, it's giving us the curly bracket, 3D curly bracket. It's giving us our, and what those curly brackets mean is that it's, that's our main view. It's our default. So let's go to close out of that again. And if you double click over here on 3D with the curly brackets, I mean, that's going to be our default view. And you could switch these up, I'm sure. But let's get to that right there, and we can start rendering. Go ahead and close that 3D view with the curly brackets and go down to floor plans level 1. And one of the first things that I would do would be to create perspective views. It's kind of like what we did with the perspective at lobby. We had to put what we call a camera in here to show you what we're going to render and what it's going to look like. That way it doesn't just look like a floor plan. See, I mean, you can't tell much of how much it's going to look like other than where the walls are, the furniture is, and windows and stairs. When you have perspective, hence the word, it gives you better perspective. So what we're going to do is that to access the camera, you go to your view tab and you go down to camera and you're able to place that. So I'll show you how to do that. So when you place your camera, it's actually going to take you a couple clicks. Before we click this and point the camera where we want it to go, I want to show you some options up here that you have in this, I guess, below the quick access toolbar. I don't really know what to call this little band. But the offset is the offset from the level that you choose. So if we're choosing to be on level 1, I want to see all these columns over here. I want to see there's reception area. I'm going to leave this alone for now. I mean, I know I said that was cool, but I'm going to leave it alone. Average height's about 5'6" for a person. I'm 5'10", so I'm going to put my height in. See what it looks like from my view. So you go ahead and place your camera, and you're able to drag and shoot where you want to go. So I'm actually going to, I'm going to still make sure that I'm recording and sharing screen here. Pause recording, stop recording, still sharing. So when we come down to the 3D view in the view tab, and we our camera, I actually want to keep this in here, so I apologize for what I said. I'm going to have my camera put right here, and I actually want to put that further back. I didn't realize how much it would miss. But here's my camera. I'm going to put it back here, okay? And you're able to drag these 3 lines across the geometry that you've made. And you always want to put your mouse this X over here, see that middle line, past all the major geometry, because if you don't, if you put it right here, then it might just cut out all that geometry. And if you see that through a window, you're gonna see a blank space or it's not gonna look right. So always put it past. Try to keep all that geometry in kind of in that view. And I'm gonna have to readjust again just because I want this to look kind of perfect. So let's put it just like that. And all of it's in there. I'm kind of looking straight towards this. And when you click on it, it's going to give you a perspective view. So this is what we have. It's just kind of like what we did in our perspective lobby. You can change it to realistic colors if you want to, and it looks nice. I think the grass is way dark. It's kind of crazy. You can go to shaded. I'll probably just leave it there just because you can see everything a little bit better. So when we do a rendering, I mean, you're going to start in your 3D model. There's a couple things in here that you don't really want to see, and I'll change it to hidden frame, or sorry, hidden, what was the word for it? Hidden line. And when you do your rendering, if you don't hide these elevations, they're going to show up. So we have some right here for the building, and then we also have all these linked some linked models in here. So we have some other lines that are for something else that might be, I don't know, maybe the topography or for something else. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on that, if it will actually work. I'm gonna click on one of the levels, and I'm gonna come up here to hide elements, hide category, and we're gonna choose hide category, and that's gonna hide all that for us. So you're no longer gonna see that in your view. What was that thing? I saw something in here. It was really weird looking. I don't know what that is. Basic wall. I guess that's down below. Maybe that's, I don't know what that is. We'll have to check that out later. But you're going to want to hide that so you don't see it in your rendering. So another thing, can actually, instead of having to select all that and then go up here to your tools, you can actually click on whatever you're wanting to hide. So let's say we pretend it's still there. In fact, let me just go back and there you go. Click on one and you can push VH, view hide, and I'll hide the entire category for you. So if you don't want to go and spend too much time, push the shortcut VH. So next thing you're going to have to do, you're going to want to focus on how your view looks, and you're going to have to change some things in there. So if we go ahead and right click on anywhere on the screen and we go to zoom to fit, it's going to push us way back out here. And I don't know why I can't bring it up. I don't know where it went. But there's supposed to be a box over here that shows you how large your, I guess if you want to say work plane or your view is. And that's going to dictate how large, when you push zoom to fit, how large it's going to be. So I had mentioned whenever you right click and you do zoom to fit, it's going to take you way out here, and you're not really, you might think like, okay, well, I'm not really sure why it's zooming out too far. That's not what I want. I want to zoom. I want to make sure that, get all this stuff out of the way, it looks good for my rendering. So what you're going to do, they actually have a couple options here. You have some in the properties and you have some on the toolbar down below. You have it kind of looks like two framer squares put together. It's just a crop region kind of looking thing. But it's do not crop view. So you can show the crop view over here. So you can click that if you really wanted to, but we want to crop it. So we're going to leave that on, and now show crop region. Okay, you're going to see some stuff pop up. That's the crop region. You can zoom to fit again, and it's going to show you the entire thing. I'm actually going to want to go to the top view. I like doing that. You could always go from whatever angle you are, but you can always come back to that. So for all this information that you really don't need to see, like some of this topography, roadway or site work, you can just take that all out. You can crop it, and I'm going to want, actually, I want about that much. I want to see a little bit of the parking lot. You know, my camera's over here facing. So I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to zoom to fit. And now it's going to show you everything you need. I'm going to go ahead and save this just to make sure it doesn't disappear on me whenever when I click out of this and go to my 3D view. And I'll go back to it. Okay. So actually did not know that. It actually comes right back to the view that you were at. So go ahead and your control, your shift and your mouse wheel, and you can get back to the view that you want. I kind of like this right here. Kind of shows just a little bit of everything. And with that crop region again, you don't need to see some of this. You don't need to see white. So I'm going to crop that down so it makes it look pretty. And I'm going to crop this just a little bit. I don't really need to see all that. And this is what I want to see. So I'm actually going to come down just a little bit more. Kind of give some room over here. Kind of square things off. That's what I want to see right there when I fix my crop region. So you go ahead and turn off that crop region again. And now here's your rendering. Well, sorry, here's your adjusted view, not rendering. We haven't gotten there yet. So next, let's say you did your crop, and you could zoom in, of course. But something easier to do is just push the quick command ZF, which is zoom to fit, and you can come up close to it, and it'll be the right size for you. Another thing I want you to think about is when you have, let's go ZF again, okay? So ZF again, it's going to zoom me in, is once you do this crop region, the rest of your topography and your view is not gone. Right now, you're just showing what's in that crop. So there's a few things that you can do. You can go up here to your properties tab when you're just in the view, not clicked on anything. And for your extents, view and crop region is what you want to look at. So let's mess around with this. When you turn off crop view and you push apply, everything comes back and you can actually still see your crop. And if you turn off region visibility as well, I mean, that'll disappear. You can turn it back on. You can push apply, it pops back up. Push crop view, you can't really tell that there's a crop there unless you have these blue little brackets or pole spheres or whatever you want to call them. So actually, I'm going to turn that off so I don't have to see it. But that's just in case you want to readjust your crop without having to pull each way and just really mess around with things. It makes things a lot easier. So if you click that again, and apply, and turn off crop view, you can adjust whatever you want, and you can see it immediately. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that back on, and we'll continue. Another thing I want to show you is actually there's another way that you can adjust and you can crop this. And what we did before was just a view. And of course you could rotate and pan around, float around in it. But another way you could do it is actually by a section box. And we'll actually come down here and see we have our section box. We'll check it. And just like we did in the earlier videos, it'll pop up. And what you can do is you can grab these pull tabs and you can actually crop geometry rather than just doing the view. So I'm actually going to come back and I'm going to, I don't want to see this square, that view. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to turn that off. Okay, it's off. And I can zoom back out and I can pull this in. And I'm going to push ZF just to kind of get in closer. Remember that zoom to fit. And sometimes I like to actually come up to the top, kind of pull it in closer that way. That way it's easier to kind of know where you are. So let's put it just about right there. I want the tree in there. I don't really care much about, I don't know where that tree went. I don't really care much about that backspace or much of the parking lot. I just want a couple trees. There was another one. Where did it go? There it is. Pull it in close. Oop. See there, if you click on it once, and you can pan around with it and drag it. Don't do that. So there we are. That's the view that I want. And I can go ahead and do my shift. And I can show you actually the front. you can even pull down and go up. So say if you had a really tall building, or if you had, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't do this. I mean, that would just kind of be defeating the purpose. But if you had geometry that was up here, let's say perhaps you modeled a mountain, or maybe you modeled some grain silos behind it, and you wanted to show the location of those and what it would look like behind it, you can render it like that. But I'm going to keep that section box just kind of down here, maybe about 10, 15 feet off the pitch of that roof. That way it looks nice. And I can come over here, I can pan around exactly how I want it. Like I said, I really like this spot right here. So I'll do zoom to fit. And that's what it's going to look like. Another thing to add when you are selecting this section box, the way that I showed you that I could go up higher or go up lower, and what I said about it actually cutting into the building, it'll actually cut away that geometry. So let's say if we wanted to do Control Shift again, and maybe we wanted to bring it down, and we wanted to show what kind of these rooms would look like, kind of like in a 3D rendering. Whatever way you want to do it, you can actually cut the geometry and you can show these rooms. But for the purpose of what we're doing right now, I just want to see the outside. So I'm going to come back to my front view, and I'm going to pull down just a little bit, 10 feet off. And you can also crop from the bottom. Right now, seeing the earth down below. So if you really wanted to, you could drag in going north with your section box, and perhaps you could cut through the building and show, okay, here's what the floor looks like on floor plan 1, and then we'll have like a basement down below. We don't have a basement here, but we do have a foundation. So let's go ahead and cut down kind of like right here, and I'll show you if we come back to the front. Now we can see these foundations. That's actually really thick right there. It's not a basement, I don't think. I mean, it's just going to be like a crawl space. So we have a crawl space. We have this slab on grade over here, and you can see some of the rooms, and you can see what's down below. I don't really care for that right now, so I'm actually going to crop this a little further. And assuming that I can do this, I could probably do my align tool and tab in on this and tab on that. Maybe I can't do it. I guess not. I thought I really could. So I'm just going to zoom in pretty far and try to get close enough to where it's at the top of, I don't know, let's try this right here. What does this look like? I just want to see the top of that concrete. So I like that right there. I like that, but one thing I don't like about it is that it's not showing my grass anymore. So I'll bring it down just a little bit. I'll come back to the front, and I want to be able to see this grass. And I was actually correct before. I mean, it's about level right here at this line. So I can come back down to the crop again and click on that if it'll allow me to. Oh, there we are. I just had to find it. I like that right there. That's going to give me a good view once I do it, just like that. And I'm actually going to bring this back again so I can see the entire building and some of this area. And now this is what I want it to look like. I'm going to bring this in just a little bit. I don't need to see all that blank space. I want to cut off that corner, and I'm going to come back to where I want it to be before, what I thought looked best. So continuing on, don't be mistaken. These two ways of viewing your 2D rendering, they don't have to work independently, or sorry, separately is what I mean to say. You can actually have them on at the same time. So if we were to click out and we were to come down and go to crop region and crop view and crop region visibility, we'll be able to see that. And you can actually click it, drag it around, and do it that way, just like that. I don't really like that right there, just because there's all this white space. But let's say if you don't want to see this section box again, we just did the exact same thing like we did with all those elevations. You click on that element and you push V H for the element by category, or is it? I think it's by category. But now you have your view like that. If you want to undo it, all you got to do is come down here and come to the reveal hidden elements. It's going to show everything in red now. And I would actually, I think you come down here. This has been like the biggest thing for me that I've struggled with. So I'm actually going to, is it more? Okay, cool. I'm actually just going to come out of that and do my thing one more time. Let's bring it out. Here's my hidden elements. Toggle reveal hidden elements mode. See, it still didn't pop up. So let's try it again. This is the thing that I keep forgetting. So I know this is where it starts, but how do I do it? So unhide and view. So I'm gonna unhide that category. And now that category is going to show back up if it will let me unhide. Oh, what's happening here? I'm not sure. I'll have to figure that out one for a second. So I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize. I figured it out. So then again, you can come and you can reveal or show what you've hidden by pushing that light bulb. Okay, reveal hidden elements. You're going to see everything right there in red pop up. Then you got your little project base point. I don't want to see that, so I'll hide it later. But here's my section box. I can just push the temporary hide isolate. And I think I can actually do that after. And I just had it. I don't know why it's not working right now. But yeah, I don't know why it's being bigger. I just had it. Okay, that was frustrating. But you can click on it, select it, you can right click, and you can unhide and view. I did that before, maybe I just did it the wrong way. But you can do it by category. Now you see that it grays out, and you can toggle this away, and now you have your section box and your crop region in there. So that's how you do that. Now the next thing I'm going to show you, and I'm actually going to kind of show you this in early. I don't want to show you everything else. It would make the video way too long. But when you're making these views, you got to make sure that all your materials are correct, that they look great, that all your modeling and all your geometry is what it needs to be. But right now we're actually going to handle lighting. So we're going to kind of place some natural lighting somewhere. So we have shadows, we have shading. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to go to 3D views again. I want you to go to the aerial view perspective, and it's going to show you this right here with this view box. And you're going to come up here to your manage tab, and you're going to do project location. And it's going to give you a real world location that you can find on a map. So the project address, I guess, is in Ventura, California. You can either toggle US daylight saving times, weather. So let's say it's going to be October 12th. So October, it looks like, I can screw this over, dry bulb, wet bulb. It's going to give you some settings over here. And October is 84, 16, 17, medium daily range. You also have another tab for site. It says used for the orientation and position of the project on the site and in relation to other buildings. There may be shared sites defined in one project. You can rename, duplicate, and add things here. And you can also have the angle from which the project is set from angle from project north to true north, and that's the degrees, minutes, and seconds right there, and then your east. So we'll play with that to make this look good. As I said before, with this location, whether in site, if you go to the manage tab and go to project location up here, this is going to be a real world location. Ventura, California isn't actually the place that this is. But in case you wanted to move the project, contract to someone else, whatever, I mean, you can type in a location. And so I'm going to type in Rexburg, Idaho. This is similar to what you have on your phone with Google Maps. So I'm going to search Rexburg, Idaho. And it'll actually pop up. Okay, so we have, can we get this out of the way? St. Anthony, here's, okay, there you go. You have to drag and click with your left mouse. Here's Rexburg right here. And it's just going to give you kind of a general drop down. So let's say if we had, I don't know, I think this building, the size of it would probably be out towards Banana area, kind of Highway 33, kind of where we have, I think this is the ag culture or whatever, with, I don't know where all the livestock is for the agriculture center, BYU, Idaho. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I have to actually drag it physically, which is kind of annoying because then I have to really look for my spot. Well, I actually want to put that perhaps even like right there. And as long as you're in kind of like in the general vicinity, I mean, you can be within a couple miles, maybe not any more than that. If you're just doing it for the rendering and for the lighting, then that's all you really need. So I just want to be in that general vicinity. I'm just going to put it by probably the land that we also own is maybe where they want to put it. You have the option to use daylight savings time, and I don't know why, but I don't know if it's daylight savings right now. But we're just going to leave that off, and I'll show you the next thing. Another thing about True North and Project North. So you're actually going to see that. So if you go ahead and click on anything outside there, don't click on any elements. You come down to, oh, where is it? I just had it. Oh, I just went right over it. So orientation, right now we're pointed to True North, and it's pointing kind of this way. So what I want to show you here first is if you look underneath B1, I'm trying to find the project base point right now. So maybe I'll go ahead and highlight that. Does it pop up? Why is it not popping up? Let's go to our reveal hidden elements, and if I can find it. So, oh, there it is. Okay, so there's our project base point. I want to unhide that in the view. And I'll do that by category. I wish I could just do it by single, which I bet you can. So then I'll go ahead and untoggle all that. And my project base point is now up here, if I can find it. There it is. Okay, so when you click on this project base point, the only thing it's really doing is just showing you a significant spot on your plan. And that right there is just going to be, it could be that front space right here. It could be the entryway. It could be a column over here. It could be, I don't know. It could be whatever this pergola looking tower is. You can switch it wherever you want to go. I'm just gonna leave it right here. So maybe, I think that's where the vestibule is. I don't know. I'm just gonna put it right there. But what I want to look at is that you have some options here, and you can actually find these same things over here in the properties. You have, this one's grayed out, design option, main model. We're in the main model right now. When you're in 3D view, that's what it's going to show. You have your north, south, your east to west, and your elevation, and then your angle to true north. So that's going to show you where all this is. You can change that true angle to north, or you can click out of this again. And let's say if you wanted to not have it in true north, but you wanted to do project north, then you push apply, and now it would be project north. This is what you see on your plans. But for the purpose of making everything look nice and pretty and current, so I know that Highway 3 comes like this. I might have to adjust this so that it would face true north. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So I wanted to show you exactly how I could orient this, and I wanted to use this road right here to represent Highway 33. But for some reason, I can't highlight the temporary height isolate. Let's get that out of there. Oh, it's because I hit something. Let's just leave that. When you go either way trying to select things, all you get is your plan. You don't get the topography in there, and maybe because it's a separate thing. And if you do that, and let's say you come over here and change it, get a hold of that, and let's say you put it to 0 degrees, which would make it just flat to, I don't know, roughly where the road would be, Highway 33, and push enter and apply. It would change the building, but it would be, your building would be protruding into the rest of your topography. It would be in your parking lot, and that's not what we want to see. So for the purpose of this, if you can figure that out, then let me know. And that would be great. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to be as regular orientation. And I'm actually going to view this instead of true north. I want to show it as project north. Now to add shadows, you're going to have to, so I know what I said about just leaving it as project north, but I'm actually going to want to change the orientation actually back to true north. And the reason why I'm going to do that, and it's just imagine that Highway 33 that came over here like a, I don't know, whatever angle, even though it doesn't, but we're going to show where the sun is. You know that the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. And the way that you're going to get shadows on here is actually by using this sun tool down here. You have sun path on, off, sun path on. I want to go to sun settings. I want to show you this. You can use this azimuth and altitude settings right here to kind of configure an angle to where your shadows need to be. But if you're going to have something shadowing as part of a, I guess, a topography or a specific location, you're not going to want to use that because that's just a over-the-shoulder kind of lighting. It'll be misleading. You might get shadows in places that you don't want. Let's say if they had some kind of landscaping deal that they wanted to do where they wanted to have some certain plant that required a lot of sunlight on the east side and on the west side, and or whatever side it is, and some other ones on the other side where they would think, okay, well, here's where the sun's going to be. How far the shadow is going to protrude. Where am I safely going to put these plants so that they grow efficiently for their location? And you're not going to want to do that with you're just lighting. You have these presets. You have to in session lighting, sunlight from top right, top left. Like I said, by the settings over here and by your ground plane level. But if you want it to be accurate and by a location, you're actually going to come over here to still. And again, there's other presets in here for times of the year. Summer solstice, winter solstice, spring, equinox, fall, and I'm going to choose equinox. But right here, that's the coordinates for our location that we picked. And just in case you want to check, or if you want to change it, you can actually push those all 3 dots, expand this, and it'll come back to where you chose your, man, I hate that. Shoot, you have to click around with your left mouse clicker. You can change wherever you want to go and change the weather. You can change, I guess, the site, use for orientation and position of the project on site and in relation to other buildings. So I'm just going to push cancel on that, but we're going to want to use the still. We'll apply that. And well, we pushed apply, but we can actually change a couple things. We can change the date and time for where the sun's going to be at that location and what it's going to look like when it falls on your plan. So when it means ground plane right here, it's actually talking about this topography. If you don't have topography, you can leave it checked. So ground plane will be at level, and it's going to take those levels and kind of bounce the light off or make shadows out of those levels. So you can choose level 1. Since I do have topography, I want it to look as natural as possible. So I'm going to uncheck that, and I'm going to apply. And then I can also do the time. So let's say, I don't know, I guess we could do noon. Noon's going to be the hottest, nearly the hottest time of the day. So we'll leave it right there. You can set it to whatever time, and it will actually show you exactly how the shadows are going to look. Ooh, where'd it go? Not sure. I had that before, but let me check. Okay, so I figured it out. Ooh, am I still sharing my screen? I should be, I think.
Select either the hour.
Pause recording, stop recording. It says I'm sharing, but I'm gonna stop share and I'm gonna share again just to make sure that it's there. But what I figured out is that if you can't see your shadows, there's actually a couple things to do. And I actually wanted to show you first where your sun path is. You can click it on and you're gonna see this giant wheel. And it's gonna have it right now at 2 p.m. It's in the southwest quadrant over here, and it's shining on the building this way. And you can actually change it just like that. And it won't change its path, it has its orbit. So let's say instead I wanted to have this time around, I don't know, 9:30. I can click it just like that. Let's go ahead and turn that off because I don't want to see those lines. Sun path off, and you're not going to see it. Now you come over here to shadows off and turn it back on. And now you can see exactly where those shadows are going to be. If you wanted to change it, you could actually come back up to your sun settings again. And let's pull this out of the way. Maybe even just shrink the box. I guess that's the smallest it goes. Let's see what it looks like at 1:30. That's what it looks like at 1:30. And let's go over here and let's go 6:30. And 6:30. Wow, that shows a lot of where the sun isn't hitting. I don't know if that's right. It might be glitched. But 2 p.m., 2:30 p.m., it's just going to look just like that, and you can have your shadows. So depending on the day that you want to portray, you can show that. So that's pretty neat. So the number one thing that you're going to need, and I'm actually going to come back to, what was it? View to fit. I can't remember. I don't know why. But the other thing that you're going to want to have to do, in fact, I'll just click and I'll do zoom to fit. So here we go, zoom to fit. And everything you're going to need is that you're going to need a 3D view right here. So we have our view 1. You can change those names to make easier to find if you really wanted to. And I'm actually going to adjust that just a little bit. But you're going to need this, okay? And when you're ready to render, if you think you're ready, okay, you've got all those checklist items I told you about done. You can come down here to this little teapot, or if it's a lamp, whatever you want to, or whatever you want to call it. Go ahead, rub it. Go ahead, click. You have all these settings, and generally you want to come all the way down and just kind of mess with these settings. Don't push render yet. For something, just remember, whenever you have these quality settings, the amount of time it to render is depending on whether it's a draft, a medium, high, best, or I guess you have a custom, be specific as well. So pretty much from low to high amount of time. So least amount of time, most amount of time. And I kind of want to make this look good, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it on high. Your output settings, if you want to, if this is going to be something that's going to be on a print, if it's going to be like a picture on the wall, some you're bringing to a meeting that you can't show on screen, you have high quality. If it's some kind of printing paper, you can push printer, or since we're just going to do it on screen, we'll leave that. And we're going to leave all these just the same. I mean, you can come down here to background and you could probably do, I don't know, let's say if you want the day to look like it's not cloudy or very few clouds, or a few clouds, very cloudy, you can change color and image as well. So if you wanted to have like an image like mountains in the background, you could do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and have, I don't know, maybe very few clouds. And just for the sake of it, I'm gonna find a photo that I can put back here, and maybe I'll have some kind of grass or some tall grass or some mountains behind there that you can see from Highway 33. Maybe you can see the views. Maybe you can see what you call it, the, I don't remember what's back there. It's St. Anthony Dunes area. Maybe you could see that. So I'm going to do that just real quick for you so I can show you how this looks like. But let me pause it. Way I don't take too much of your. Okay, so I figured her out, and we're actually going to come back down here to the teapot, and we're going to choose draft this time. It took too long with the high, so we're going to use draft. It takes about 5 minutes. What we're going to do is you're going to leave this as screen. You can have scheme, sun, and artificial. I'm going to leave sun and artificial right there, and then sun settings. Like I said, I'll have my still, push OK. So that's what it's going to look like. And this actually might just look a little funny just because of the picture that I have, but you can insert an image, which I've already done. It's cumulus clouds over yellow prairie, and it's going to give me an error, which I can actually bypass. So I'll go ahead and push render. I'm going to render this photo, and along with the model, it's going to say that I'm missing some renderings from like some brick and mortar and some things like that. It's going to ask, hey, do you want to continue, or do you want to stop it? And figure out a different time how to fix those. It might be that it just elements needed to be given a material, and we didn't do that. So, yeah, there it is. Mortar, burgundy, most of that. So once that is done, and those have been found to be missing, we'll see slowly of how it's supposed to be looking. And this looks pretty good. So it's actually not too bad. I wish it was just a little brighter. And you can actually change that. You can customize image and, oh, I'm sorry. Adjust exposure. Exposure value, darker, brighter. Oh, that's way too bright. And yep, still way too bright. Maybe right there. I want it just a little lighter. Why can't I just click it? There you go. Highlights, shadows. Maybe shadows are a little darker. You can mess around with this to make it look really good. Saturation. Intensify it. It looks really weird right now. You can bring it down to more gray, some more neutral colors, which natural colors is going to be looking like that. Your highlights, brighter or darker. Okay. It's going to be your clouds. It's going to be some of your wider materials, and you can decrease that to make it look more real. So I'm going to leave it like that. My grass is not necessarily the right color, as I mentioned before, and some of this is just not going to look right. So I'm just going to I'm trying to find the best way to make this look. I want to have it just a little brighter, like at a 12. So it's getting just a little bit better. I want my shadows to be highlights a little brighter, my shadows to be a little darker. Okay. Grilled cheese is cooking in the background. If you don't like it, you can always push reset. And for this right here, I'm just going to reset it. You know that you can come back through all these exposure settings and you can change it. And here's your rendering. So I hope you found that useful, and I hope that continue watching my videos. And I thank you for your time. Thank you.